Greetings to all. My name is Jake, a 26-year-old hailing from the vibrant country of Brazil. 5 months ago, I found myself unable to articulate a complete sentence in English. Even the simple inquiry of "How are you?" would send waves of anxiety coursing through me. A profound sense of disorientation enveloped me. Today, I wish to recount my journey of mastering English in a mere 5 months, all achieved without the burden of costly classes, the necessity of traveling to an English-speaking nation, or the frustration of employing ineffective methods. This narrative transcends my personal journey. It intertwines with yours as well. If you have ever experienced feelings of frustration, a sense of being stuck, or even embarrassment regarding your English skills, I encourage you to continue listening. As I sit here reflecting on my journey, I can't help but think of the time when I was in your position. If you were to hear my entire story, from its humble beginnings to the pivotal moments that shaped my path, you would discover the keys to elevating your English skills. Let's take a moment to rewind. My adventure didn't begin with a spark of motivation. Rather, it was ignited by a significant setback that ultimately transformed my life. That singular moment altered the course of everything for me. I had always envisioned myself working for an international company, with aspirations of becoming a software engineer at a prominent tech firm. Coding was my passion. I excelled at it, dedicating countless hours to perfecting my craft. After years of relentless effort, I finally received the opportunity I had been striving for. I submitted my application to a prominent company in the United States, and to my delight, the recruiter reached out with an email that read, "Congratulations, you're selected for an interview." A wave of excitement washed over me. I could vividly envision my future in a new country, earning a substantial income, and collaborating with remarkable individuals. However, the moment of the interview arrived. The memory lingers vividly in my mind, as if it occurred just yesterday. As I launched Zoom, my eyes fell upon three interviewers, each one a native speaker of English. As they began to converse, it was as if an unseen hand had pressed the fast-forward button on their voices, propelling their words into a rapid cascade of sound. I found myself utterly perplexed. The initial inquiry posed was, "Jake, could you share a bit about your background and your journey in the realm of software?" During the interview, I experienced a surge of panic. The answer lingered in the recesses of my mind, a clear certainty, yet the words eluded me, refusing to take form and escape my lips. I found myself mumbling, yeah, A software developer is a professional who engages in the creation, design, and maintenance of software applications and systems. This role encompasses a variety of tasks, including coding, debugging, and collaborating with other team members to deliver functional and efficient software solutions. I engage in coding. I have numerous projects underway. I excel at what I do. Their gazes were fixed on me, and the ensuing silence pierced through the air, a sharp discomfort settling in my stomach. Another question was posed to me, yet I found myself unable to provide an answer once more. At last, one of them broke into a smile and remarked, "All right, Jake, thanks for your time." In that moment, I understood the implication. I had utterly failed. I didn't secure the job, not due to a lack of skill, but rather because my English-speaking abilities fell short. On that day, I came to a profound understanding of the immense power of the English language. It transcends mere communication, embodying a world of possibilities. The cornerstone of my aspiration lay in mastering the English language, yet I found myself lacking this essential skill. A wave of shame washed over me, intertwining with a deep sense of embarrassment, and a simmering anger directed squarely at myself. For years, I convinced myself that English was unnecessary. I believed that excelling in my job alone would suffice. However, it dawned on me. In the absence of English, I found myself rendered nearly invisible. That evening, I resolved to embark on the journey of mastering English, determined to grasp it swiftly and effectively. Many individuals begin their journey by investing in costly classes, yet I chose a different path. Having previously enrolled in such programs, I found them ineffective for my needs. 1 year prior, I enrolled in an online English class, where the instructor primarily focused on having me memorize vocabulary lists, engage in grammar drills, and study tedious rules. After 3 long months, when I finally mustered the courage to engage in conversation, I found myself utterly unable to speak. It was at that moment I came to the understanding that expensive classes would not suffice if I aimed to master English in a timely manner. I found myself yearning for something distinct, a strategy that truly delivered results in the complexities of everyday life. It was during that time that I devised my 5-month method, and I am eager to share it with you in a detailed, step-by-step manner. Let us embark on the journey by delving into the initial segment, the first 15 days. The most significant error that novices often commit is they believe that acquiring a greater vocabulary is essential. In the past, I held a similar belief that mastering a vocabulary of 1,000 words would grant me the ability to speak fluently. Yet the reality was that I possessed a vast vocabulary, numbering in the hundreds, and still found myself unable to articulate a single word. During the initial 15 days, my attention was not directed towards acquiring new vocabulary. Instead, I embarked on a journey far more impactful. I delved into the art of utilizing the words I already possessed. I compiled a list of essential sentences. As I settled into my chair, I reflected on the essential messages I wished to convey each day. With a pen in hand, I meticulously crafted a list of 50 straightforward sentences, each one thoughtfully chosen for its practicality in everyday life. Consider phrases such as, "Hello, how are you doing?" And "Could you please say that again?" I find myself perplexed. I am currently in the process of learning English, and I find myself in dire need of a coffee, if you would be so kind. Each morning, I engage in the practice of reading these 50 sentences aloud, not merely once or twice, but a full 10 times. Initially, it seemed as though my tongue was sluggish, but after 5 days, those sentences began to flow with an ease that felt almost instinctual. Additionally, I started engaging in daily conversations with myself in English, and to be honest, that has proven to be one of the most beneficial decisions I made. In moments of solitude, I found myself engaging in conversations in English, as if the very act of speaking to myself filled the silence with purpose. During my time in the shower, I would often find myself stating, "I'm taking a shower." The water is steaming, enveloping me in a soothing warmth that brings a sense of tranquility. As I prepare breakfast, I announce, "I'm cooking eggs." I like eggs, they're easy to cook. Initially, it seemed. Initially, I felt a twinge of foolishness, but soon clarity dawned upon me. This space was my personal sanctuary, a classroom where the echoes of judgment and scrutiny faded into silence. Merely a week had passed, and already my mind began to embrace the English language, weaving its thoughts into the fabric of my daily reflections. Each day, I dedicated myself to crafting 5 sentences, but there was a twist. I sourced these sentences from the rich tapestry of movies and authentic conversations. I didn't merely read them. I meticulously copied each word, repeating them 10 times, striving to match the emotion, speed, and pronunciation of the native speakers with precision. That truly assisted me in perfecting my accent and achieving a more authentic sound. As the first 2 weeks drew to a close, a transformation unfolded. I ceased the constant translation of thoughts in my mind, allowing myself to articulate the fundamentals with clarity. I began to articulate my thoughts without the burden of overanalysis, and in doing so, I discovered a newfound sense of confidence. Yet, this was merely the beginning of my journey. Following a span of 15 days, I embarked on the genuine practice. It was at that moment that genuine progress commenced. While I was able to articulate basic sentences effortlessly, a surge of confidence washed over me. Yet deep down, I recognized the necessity for further growth. I sought more than merely linking brief sentences. I yearned for genuine dialogues. I sought to grasp the nuances of native speakers' conversations without the need to mentally translate their words. In my pursuit of fluency, I devised a new game plan, one that promised to transform my entire approach. If you remain committed to the process, you'll find that your improvement will surpass your expectations in ways you never imagined. A significant realization struck me during my attempts to converse in English. My cognitive response was sluggish. While I possessed a vocabulary, the challenge lay in my inability to swiftly assemble those words into coherent sentences. I recognized the necessity for a technique that would render speaking more instinctive. Thus, I developed what I now refer to as the question-answer method. This approach is straightforward yet remarkably effective. The steps are as follows. Initially, I posed a simple question to myself in English. Subsequently, I provided an immediate response without succumbing to overanalysis. Finally, I continued this process with a variety of answers. For instance, I began with, "What activities filled your day today?" Initially, I simply stated that I was employed, but then I found myself compelled to provide further details. After dedicating 3 hours to my project, I decided it was time for a well-deserved break, during which I savored a cup of coffee. With every response I provided, I infused additional details that not only enriched my answers, but also facilitated my ability to think and articulate in English with greater confidence and fluidity. Consider this. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Initially, I began with the simple statement, "I ate eggs." However, I soon expanded my description to include not just the eggs, but also the toast that accompanied them. To further enrich the narrative, I added that I had a banana as well. Feeling an overwhelming hunger, I opted for a simple yet satisfying meal of toast accompanied by a ripe banana. Every morning, I indulge in a hearty breakfast, savoring the delightful combination of eggs, toast, and a ripe banana. I dedicate at least 30 minutes to this cherished ritual, allowing myself to fully enjoy each bite. My speaking speed improved significantly, my sentences became more elaborate, and I ceased the habit of translating everything in my mind. One of my most significant challenges was pronunciation. Even when I communicated in English, my voice still carried a foreign lilt. The native speakers understood my message, yet my accent remained notably thick. I experimented with an echo technique, which I found to be the most effective method for honing my pronunciation skills in the absence of a teacher. Here is the unfolding narrative. 1. Engage with a native speaker through various mediums such as movies, YouTube, or podcasts. Initially, I would pause the audio after each sentence, allowing myself a moment to absorb the nuances. Then I meticulously repeated the sentence, striving to match the original in speed, tone, and emotion. For instance, I selected a brief clip from a film where a character expressed, "I don't know what you're talking about." After pausing, I echoed, "I don't know what you're talking about." Although it felt challenging at first, after 10 repetitions, my voice began to resonate more closely with that of the native speaker. Another instance arose from a podcast. It was a beautiful day, prompting me to take a leisurely walk. I paused and repeated, "On a pleasant day, I decided to embark on a walk." This was a ritual I embraced daily, dedicating 30 minutes to the rhythm of my footsteps. Over the course of a month, I noticed a remarkable transformation in my pronunciation. Even native speakers would exclaim, "Wow, your English sounds really natural." I understood that vocabulary was essential, yet I came to realize that merely memorizing lists of words would not suffice. Thus, I sought a more effective approach. I adopted the story method. Here's how it unfolded. Each day, I would select 5 new words. Subsequently, I crafted a short narrative incorporating all 5 words. After composing the story, I would read it aloud 10 times. Ultimately, I ensured that I integrated those words into genuine conversations. My heart raced with anticipation as I received the invitation to a grand celebration. Upon my arrival, I was met with an overwhelming sense of astonishment. It was, in fact, a surprise birthday party in my honor. Each day, I engaged in this practice, and after 3 months I found myself having acquired more than 1,000 new words, all without the need to consciously memorize them. One of the most significant challenges individuals encounter while learning is the tendency to think in their native language initially, subsequently translating their thoughts into English. This process often results in speech that is both slow and awkward. I dedicated myself to training my mind to think in English. I meticulously detailed the surroundings that enveloped me, articulating each element in English. As I stepped outside, the world unfolded before me. As I observed my surroundings, I reflected, the sky is a vivid blue, the heat envelops me, and passers-by are visible. Notably, a man in a striking red shirt catches my eye. This contemplation led me to ponder various questions, which I began to articulate and respond to in English. At this moment, I find myself seated in a chair, savoring a cup of coffee while diligently jotting down my thoughts in a notebook. Each evening, I diligently recorded my thoughts in a daily journal, capturing the essence of my day in English. Initially, my sentences were quite straightforward, lacking complexity. However, as the weeks progressed, I noticed a remarkable transformation. My writing began to flow with a newfound ease and fluidity. After a few weeks, I observed something remarkable. No longer was I engaged in the act of translation. Instead, English words began to flow to me effortlessly, as if they were a part of my very being. That was one of the actions I undertook. The approach was simple yet profoundly resonant. I established a personal guideline. Each day, I committed to conversing in English for a minimum of 2 hours, without exceptions. In moments when solitude enveloped me, I found myself engaging in conversation with none other than my own thoughts. In moments when time is scarce, I would seize the opportunity to practice during the rhythmic motions of cooking, the purposeful tasks of cleaning, or the meditative pace of walking. On those days when lethargy crept in, I would gently remind myself that English holds the key to my future, and surrendering was simply not an option. As we transition into part 3, I find myself at a pivotal moment. Having established the routine of listening and repeating, I felt a compelling urge to challenge myself further. However, I came to understand that merely listening and speaking fell short. I also had to comprehend the intricacies of grammar and structure. I aimed to articulate my thoughts in English with precision, ensuring that I wouldn't create any confusion for others. My desire was to convey my ideas in a manner that felt authentic and fluid. I began to observe the intricate ways in which native speakers construct their sentences. Each time I encountered someone expressing a thought, I didn't merely echo their words. Instead, I delved into the reasoning behind the structure of their sentences. For example, I have encountered individuals expressing, "I have been learning English for 5 months," while my education instructed me to say, "I am learning English for 5 months." This marked my initial significant realization. The English taught in academic settings frequently diverges from the language that people genuinely employ in everyday conversation.